we compel you to join us as we break down the Exorcist Believer, uncover the Easter eggs, and reveal all of the secrets you may have missed. The Exorcist Believer is here, and it's horrifying in the best way. Before we dive in, this video contains spoilers for the new movie. Firstly, what hidden secrets were there to be found lurking amongst the demons and the deadly? If you keep your eyes peeled early on in Believer, you'll be able to spot a small sculpted creature in Angela's room. If this wasn't already creepy enough,
he's scared.
We've met before.
It's actually the very same creature that Regan drew back in the original movie. Also, the couch in Chris MacNeil's house is the very same piece of furniture from the 1973 classic. David Gordon Green shared how the senior sofa managed to stay fit and healthy, ready for another shot at the spotlight for 5 decades. It was actually thanks to Chris MacNeil herself. Ellen burst in. Ellen took it home after because she just got into an apartment and needed a couch. She didn't want the bad juju from the set, so she had it reupholstered. It's something no audience in a million years would ever notice. Did you notice the couch? If so, you've got one up on David Gordon Green. Without Burstyn's return to the franchise, it's hard to imagine The Exorcist Believer garnering as much hype as it has. Much like David Gordon Green's reboot of the Halloween franchise delighting fans with the return of Scream Queen Jamie Lee Curtis, The Exorcist Believer gives moviegoers one more chance to enjoy Regan's mom as she was back in the 1970s. This almost wasn't the case though, because Ellen Burstyn initially turned down the offer to reprise her role. When first approached about becoming the iconic character of Chris MacNeil once more, Burstyn remarked that she felt like the devil was asking her price. Even 50 years on, it's clear that The Exorcist still has an eerie hold on Ellen. She eventually accepted the offer, but admitted she did so solely for the money, which she then donated to charity. Who knew such a wholesome gesture could come about thanks to one of the most disturbing franchises of all time? Ellen's return to the series is undoubtedly one of the most exciting aspects of the new movie, but for fans, there may be nothing better than getting to see Linda Blair as Regan MacNeil again after so many years. David Gordon Green actually went to great lengths in order to keep Blair's appearance in the movie a surprise. Green added a character called Bartholomew to the call sheet, and while the cast and crew were expecting a brand new on-screen persona to show up, this was actually Green's way of getting Blair into the scene without anyone knowing. Green also shared that the tender moment between Regan and her mom in the movie was close to reality, as Linda Blair and Ellen Burstyn had not interacted for a long time in real life. We'd flown Linda in kind of under the shadows. It was the first time they'd connected in many years, and it was real. You look around and the guy holding the boom mic has got like a tear falling out of his eye. Blair also worked on set as a kind of coach for Olivia O'Neill and Lydia Jewett, the girls who played the possessed victims in this movie. If you want advice on how to accurately raise hair as a girl turned demon, who better to take tips from than the woman behind the most iconic possessed girl in cinema history? This information was also revealed in the lead-up to the movie's release. So in addition to providing the girls on set with some expert advice, Blair's open presence as an advisor helped to keep her cameo a secret. Believer is the 6th big screen entry into the catalog of The Exorcist, and it may be a direct sequel to the original made 50 years later. But director David Gordon Green pointed out before the movie's release that the Easter egg hunt wouldn't be quite as rewarding as some fans were expecting. It's not an Easter eggy movie. I had a lot of fun seeing what some of the old cast were up to, and making callbacks to all of the Halloween movies. The Exorcist isn't that type of fun. The Exorcist is more academic and psychologically horrific. That doesn't mean there aren't some fantastic throwbacks to be found, though. Mike Oldfield's Tubular Bells is also back. The musical accompaniment lifted the original movie to legendary heights, and it's often hailed as one of the greatest instrumental pieces in cinema. Fans will either be grinning ear to ear upon hearing the track in Believer, or they'll be shuddering in fear. Either way, it's an undeniably awesome thing to have Tubular Bells back on the big screen. Some other nods to the genre-defining original movie are the fighting dogs. The dogs seen in Believer as just like those pesky pooches that Max von Sydow's father Marin saw in The Exorcist. Fans can also see photos of Regan as a child, and a book that Chris MacNeil seemingly published in the years since the traumatic events of the first movie. One of the biggest talking points from The Exorcist Believer is the ending, were you left confused by the closing sequence? If so, fear not, that was by design. David Gordon Green revealed that he intended for the hows and whys to be up to audience interpretation. Real life has taught us that when you think you've got the choice to make, you're making compromised choices between the possessed Angela and Catherine. Which child would you have chosen to save? There's no banishing the impact that 1973's The Exorcist has had on cinema. Tragically though, the original movie's director, William Friedkin, did not live to see The Exorcist Believer hit theaters. He passed away in August of 2023. His spirit seems alive and well though, as movie critic Ed Whitfield shared a hilarious statement from Friedkin about his farts on the new movie. According to Ed, William Friedkin had this to say: "My signature film is about to be extended by the man who made Pineapple Express. I don't want to be around when that happens. But if there's a spirit world and I can come back, I plan to possess David Gordon Green and make his life a living hell." At 87 years old, Friedkin still had a fantastic sense of humor. The director took charge of plenty of Hollywood hits in addition to The Exorcist throughout his life, including Blue Chips, Rules of Engagement, The Hunted, and Killer Joe. Friedkin was always critical of the sequels to The Exorcist, but it's clear that the fans couldn't help but want more from the world of Pazuzu the Demon. Even though Believer is a direct sequel to William Friedkin's original flick, its existence means many other sequels are now essentially non-canon. This includes the 2016 series, The Exorcist. Curiously enough, the Fox series also ignored all the other sequels to The Exorcist, meaning that The Exorcist Believer isn't the first new installment to do so. Blumhouse spent around $400 million to secure the rights to the franchise. No matter how well The Exorcist Believer is received, no matter how much money it makes, 2 more movies are coming. This will give fans one frightening trilogy to enjoy. Thanks for watching. What was your favorite part of The Exorcist Believer?